Here it is, the official face-off. The date, September 12, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas.
It's about to go down.
Yeah, it's about to go down. Now, we already knew that this was the next logical step for both Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford in their careers, right? For it to collide for a mega fight, you know, but now we have the official confirmation. And I was going to, react to this news yesterday in addition to the result of the fight between Canelo and William Scull in order for Canelo to reclaim undisputed at 168. But I was like, man, I want to sleep on it because, tell the truth, I almost slept during it too.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? It's your boy, Dr. Boxing Talk, back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. Remember what time it is? The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. Terence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez, they will be fighting in September, good Lord willing, in Las Vegas. Compliments of Turkey Al Sheikh. You know what I'm saying? He's been facilitating big fights and he has not let us down again, right? But I will say where he let us down is not necessarily his fault. It's primarily the fault of the fighters and the responsibility of the fighters to put on a good fight. But let's be honest, the event on Friday with Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero, Devin Haney versus Carlos Ramirez, Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barbosa was lackluster, right? And then now this card, I don't really think this card was that bad, but the main event was definitely lackluster between Saul Canelo Alvarez, a face of boxing, aka Cinnamon. And the Cuban fighter William Scull, the was undefeated champion for the IBF sanctioned body at 168 pounds, right? So this fight was, I think it was pretty close, and I had Canelo Alvarez winning, right? I had him winning 7 rounds to 5, reflecting a score of 115-113. However, what I do not like, Cinnamon is one of my favorite fighters, right? But I don't like any illogical, fanatic, immoral, goofy, immature fans of any particular fighter. I like boxing first. There's a lot of fighters that I like, but I don't afford them any excuse. Case in point, when Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos fought and it was a stinker, I didn't just blame Shakur Stevenson. I also blamed Edwin De Los Santos because both fighters have a responsibility to make it a worthwhile fight, an interesting fight, an intriguing fight, an exciting fight. They didn't do that. Same thing again with Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz fought. I don't like Teofimo Lopez, but I didn't just blame Teofimo Lopez for a bad fight. I also gave the appropriate portion of the blame to Jermaine Ortiz. Here, I'm seeing a lot of people blame William Scull solely. Of course, William Scull was the one that wasn't engaging. Of course, he was the one that was in fact disengaging and moving around the ring. But Saul Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion, is one of the best boxers ever. Yeah. And that comes with the responsibility to do things like cut off the ring. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's just that. It is what it is. So was Canelo fleet of foot? Yes. Was William Scull fleet of foot? Yes. Was he not trying to engage and get in a firefight? Yes. But this is called boxing. This isn't called rock'em sock'em boppers. This is not power slap. This is not you hit me and I hit you. No, you got to figure out a way to nullify what the opponent is doing. And while William Scull did not do himself any favors, Canelo didn't do himself any favors either by making me more excited about the fight. Now I will say this, going into the fight, when the fight first started, man, I thought Canelo was doing, I keep saying Canelo. I thought William Scull was doing a good job. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read you my scorecard right now. Let me pull out my notes.
1 hour later.
So looking at my notes right here, the first round I gave to William Scull.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit!
The second round I gave to Canelo. The third and the fourth round I gave to William Scull. The fifth round I gave to Canelo. The sixth round I gave to Scull. The seventh round I gave to Scull. And then rounds 8 through 12 I gave to Canelo because I felt like once we passed the 7th round, I feel like Scull wasn't even being effective. So I don't mind you moving around like that, but you also got to box while you do it. He was just, let's face it, he was literally looking like he was running sometimes.
She's a runner, she's a track star. She gon' run away when it gets hard.
And if you're going to be running, then it's hard for me to overlook the amount of effort that Canelo was putting forth in order to chase you down and hawk you down. And he was the one that was trying to engage and and pursue you the entire time. So I do score for forward aggression. I do score for desire to want to fight, but I also do score for boxing ability to and executing your game plan. And clearly William Scull was executing his game plan not to engage or get caught up in a firefight with Canelo at the first half of the portion of the fight, the first half portion of the fight. So I got to commend him for that. But at the same time, I am going to penalize you for running a track meet.
She's a runner, she's a track star. She gon' run away when it gets hard.
During the fight, because it is a fight and part of fighting is engaging. So I had Canelo winning 7-5. I could see somebody having it 8-4, 8 rounds to 4, reflecting 116-112. But I thought it was a close fight that Canelo clearly won, but I think all this criticism for William Scull alone, I don't mind you criticizing William Scull, but we also have to give part of the blame to Saul Canelo Alvarez as well, because that's part of it. He's a championship level fighter, and we know that he doesn't really have the legs like that, or utilizes. I don't think they're gone. I think he just doesn't utilize his legs as well as he used to. Then we also have to give him part of the blame. Now I will say this, with this fight with Terence Crawford and Canelo being announced, man, I'm excited for it. And if I'm Terence Crawford or Terence Crawford fans that think he's going to win, then this will give me a little glimmer of hope, right? Because if Skull can manage to be as evasive as he was last night against Canelo, maybe Terence Crawford could do the same thing. However, I will say this, we never seen Terence Crawford implement such a game plan like that. We know Terence Crawford for being a dog, right?
For that doggy bag, I seen your ass where all dogs go. I guess it's how it feel to be a big dog.
And actually wanted to engage. So I don't think he's going to fight like that. I think he will engage. I think it will be exciting. And that's why I think Canelo Alvarez will win. I think Cinnamon's going to win because I think that size and that mass and his skill is going to get to him, because Terence Crawford is very skillful as well. They're both phenomenal fighters, both all-time great fighters. That's why this fight is so intriguing. But I do think the size disparity is going to be a little bit too much once we get to the later rounds, man. That's just my personal opinion on that, But however, I will say this too. Back to William Scull and Canelo. I want to tell y'all this too, man. If the roles were reversed and Canelo was doing what Scull did as the A side, I have no doubt in my mind that people will be blaming Scull and say that, oh, Canelo was outboxing him. So I want to say once again to you, immature, illogical, fanatical, or fanatics, what I'm saying? People that are so overly emotional that you don't know how to be objective. Shame on you, man, because that if it was the other way around, as much as I like Cinnamon, we would say, oh, well, the guy couldn't hit the champion, so let's just be fair and let's normalize being fair and being objective when it comes to judging these fights. Like I said, I have Canelo winning clearly, but I do think it was a close fight. And I do think that William Scull, while it was not impressive, while it was not exciting, I do commend him for trying to execute a game plan. But like I said, about halfway through the fight, he forgot that he was fighting. What I'm saying? I could never score a fight for a person who wasn't fighting. That's my spill on it, man. That's my opinion on it. I look forward to this Terence Crawford versus Canelo fight. Y'all let me know who y'all think is gonna win. It's September, man. Las Vegas, baby. I got Cinnamon by late stoppage. I'm talking about maybe 10th round stoppage, but that's just right now, man. It might change when we get a little closer. Y'all let me know, man. Don't forget to smack that like button, but most importantly, remember with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace.
From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.